And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, October the 12th, 2019. It is Season 13, Episode 37, and I'm Scott.
And I'm RJ.
Welcome to the show. Matt could not make it to the show for the second week in a row, and we will administer the proper punishment at a time suitable for such when he arrives or returns. If you'd like, I don't know, hopefully he'll be back next week. I don't know. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our phone number is 334-272-9228, 334-272-9228. Matt, of course, not here. I may not see the phone ring, so you need to just let it ring and ring and ring, and I'll eventually, if I don't answer, just, call right back, and I'll eventually see it. RJ might see it and let me know, so just, that sort of thing. Check out ingamechat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. You can find us on Facebook at InGameChat. You can email us, everyone at ingamechat.net. We're streaming right now on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv, type in In-Game Chat. You'll be able to find us. Go to our website, just click on the link. That's the easiest thing to do because that works. That's it. You can find us there. You can join in the chat room live while we broadcast. And as I do this, let me make sure it's all done with 580. Our 580th episode, whatever. Think about that. It's 580 episodes, but we only do them once a week.
Mm-hmm. Means we've been doing this for a minute.
Once a week. 580 episodes. That's a long time. Actually, there was a point where we did, and I don't know if I counted them in there, in the episode list, because I remember one time we did a few shows, like in the middle of the week. We did
like
a show.
A Wednesday or something.
Yeah, like we do a show, we do a regular show, and then everybody would come in and we do a show that wasn't actually broadcast on the air, but we'd still put it up on our podcast for downloads.
Yep.
And counted those as episodes as well. But yeah, so that number is just is the best to our ability of coming up with our number. We're pretty much in that ballpark somewhere, but
that's a guesstimate.
Yeah, but 580, that's where we're at. Welcome to the show, everybody. We've already done the whole spiel of the phone numbers and everything else to go down. So, there was a lot to talk about as far as Blizzard. Yeah, and they haven't really pulled themselves out of the hole that they've dug. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to that. And if anyone wants to chime in with their opinions of that, then we offer our phone lines. We offer the chat channel that you can just type into, and I'll relay your message over the air, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, when we get to that, we're not there just yet, but we will get to it. I guess we could go over what we played. RJ, have you played any? What have you? You're going to know what I played, and I really don't want to get into what I played. I will talk about it a little bit, but not as much as I did. But what about you, RJ?
For the most part of this week, I've been playing Code Vein.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been trying to navigate my way through this stage. I'm at the Cathedral of... I don't forget the name of it, but it's called the Cathedral of something. But basically, it's a maze that you have to run through.
Yeah.
And it is a real difficult aspect to go through, trying to navigate my way through that whole thing, because I have no idea where I'm going in this thing. A good thing there's a map that tells me where I've been, but I'm starting to, at this point, overlap, go to the same places over and over and over again. So I'm going to have to go online and find something to figure out where I'm going, because I'm lost at this point.
Yeah,
I'm starting to get familiar with all the areas except where I need to go to. So I've been doing that, grinding for gifts in the game as well. I think I've said last week how you can take aspects from other blood codes throughout the game and put it into your own to make some some hodgepodge amalgamated mix of different things. So that's what I've been doing with my character to get it tailor-made to the play style that I like for this game. So that's a fun thing to do, trying out the abilities and seeing how well they work with your style of play. Getting different veins for you to wear and see what they do in terms of your style of play as well. One I've picked up is the prayer vein. It looks like a monk's hood or whatever, but when I activate this thing, it causes blades to come out all around me, and it also attacks enemies that way. So I've been able to use it to time my parries right, and also to get a lot of damage when I needed to siphon blood from my enemies to boost my abilities. So I've been having fun with that and seeing what the different veins can do, trying on this and that and whatever, trying to customize everything.
Yeah.
I've also went down to the depths. There's an area in there that allows you to get bigger prizes, bigger
rewards,
items, rewards, things like that, and more haze that's the currency in the game, haze. Get more of that to boost everything as well. So basically, it's been exploring, trying on different things, customizing everything like that. And when eventually I finally get through that maze, I'll be able to go on to the next part of the story of the game. And other than that, I was trying to play Destiny 2 on Steam, but I'm having computer issues with that, and
which you really shouldn't be having. You just built that thing, right?
Yes, been within a year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you shouldn't be having issues with that. So I'm not sure why.
Yeah, and I showed you the stats of it, and
I couldn't. Yeah, I mean, I have to look at it, but a computer built within the last year should be able to run Destiny 2, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure is it knocking you on? What's it doing?
It's very sluggish. It's like struggling to get to 30 frames a second. I mean, maybe it gets 20 frames a second.
How much RAM do you have?
32 gigs.
32 gigs of RAM, you should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It should be, but it's not.
I don't know if Destiny is a CPU heavy game or if it's a GPU heavy game. What's your GPU?
Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1060.
1060 should have no problem. And I think your CPU is fine. If your CPU is running 32 gigs of RAM and also that graphics card, I think you're fine.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking maybe a settings off or something's
going
wrong, or
throw it up into the. You should throw it up into the Google chat that we've got up there, because Jeremy, James, even Kevin, they can look at that and kind of maybe they can see something I'm not seeing. But I would definitely let them know and see.
Yeah.
There's no reason you should be having any kind of situation.
Yeah.
I saw you pop on, and I thought, oh, well, there's RJ.
Yeah.
And then, you left.
Yeah. I was trying to get everything working fine. I mean, I tried Destiny. It didn't work. I put it on lowest settings, and it was struggling to get 20 frames a second. I try to play other games that I have on Steam. Fight and Rage is fine, but Fight and Rage is a low-impact type of game. It's not going to do anything like that. So I downloaded Vanquish, Platinum Games classic back in the day. Tried to put that on there. Same problem. It's getting sluggish. Try to get maybe 20 to 25 frames a second. I couldn't get 30 frames a second on there.
Okay.
Updated the drivers on everything that I could. Same problem.
What kind of board do you have?
Same Gigabyte gaming. Board. I can't remember the name of the thing.
Okay.
It was one that went with the.
You're running. Well, let me say you're running the. You running an Intel or
Intel?
Intel. Okay.
Yeah, i5.
Well, I don't know. I do not know. I would say post that though in the chat. See if they've got any help.
That Specky pick I showed you. I'll put it in
something like that. Yeah, let them know what's going on. See if they can help you out with that, because you should not be running into that problem. The fact that you're running into it with more than just Destiny, though, I hate to say it, makes me feel better that it's not a single problem with that game.
Yeah, it's not the game. Might not be the game at all. Probably
right. Off. Because if it's only happening in that game, that makes me think, well, then it's something with that game settings and in this mismatch. But since it's happening with other games, that is good. Or that. It's good to rule it out.
It's good to narrow it down. It's not the game. It's something else entirely.
It allows us to focus a little bit closer for what's going on. So.
So I ended up playing more on the PS4 than anything else. Just leveling up what I could. We
got a lot of people playing somewhere, man, because we hit our clan level cap again this past week, which didn't get us to level 3. but it did get us to the cap that they allow you, which is I think 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to 100,000 again before the week was over with.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like it's going to be very hard for us to move the line forward every week by week. So, but I don't know where it's coming from because each player can only contribute 5,000 points.
Yeah.
Per character. So yeah, it's coming from somewhere, and
Well, we appreciate it.
keep it coming.
Yeah. Speaking of caps, what's the Glimmer cap now?
250.
That's it?
Yeah,
No, okay.
I know.
I thought that'd be like 500,000 at least.
Right?
That would be much
Yeah.
better.
I mean, they need to just knock it up to 999,999. You know what I'm saying?
Just making $1 million to be fine.
Just go up, but they don't. Well, I mean, you gotta. No, you don't really. You don't. They think they do. By they, I mean Bungie. Bungie thinks they need to have limitations on a lot of things, but they really don't. They think that if we open this door too wide, people are going to blow through this and not do anything, whereas they're wrong on that part.
Mm-hmm.
You blow the doors wide open, people will continually play because they want certain rolls on weapons. That's the thing that keeps people coming back is these random rolls, not how much freedom they have to get through a mission. If something's too tough or if they're limited in any way, then that turns more people away from the game. Because, for instance, myself, I've already done everything I needed to do as of last night for the week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to do anything more. But if I could farm some more materials or run through some things to get better drops or something like that, I'm more than likely going to do that. But they limit you on so many things that when I've hit my limit, I've hit my limit. It's like, okay, wait for reset.
Yep.
Unless a group of us want to get together and do something, which I think a group of us are planning to do a raid tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But that's the whole thing is that, but they like to limit you. They think, well, this, what was the one that they limited, I think they're called Lunafaction boots, the boots for warlocks that automatically reload your weapon without you having to do it. In other words, the ammo going into your gun just pulls from your reserves constantly.
Yeah.
While that power is active.
I've only seen that on sparrows. Like sparrows reload your guns while you're on it.
No. These are like so.
Yeah, some passive ability on your footwear. Yeah.
The boots for a warlock they have whenever you're standing in a well of radiance, and that can either be a healing well that you pop down as one of your secondary powers, or it can be your super, which is that big giant well of radiance that everybody stands in and is protected. If somebody wearing those boots inside that well, it'll activate that perk, which then everybody within that will get their ammo continually fed into their gun as they're firing. So I'll go through an entire, I'll go through all 12 or 15 grenades out of my grenade launcher without ever having to reload. It just boom, 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 boom. They pulled that away from there. They took that out. And I don't know what they made it, but they took it out. I don't know why, but they did. The tether that hunters have when they're wearing their boots, the boots I kept trying to get for the longest time, the Orpheus rigs. Yeah. There is while you're wearing those boots and you fire a tether, then all the enemies that are tethered in there, every enemy that gets tethered will recharge your ability, your super ability, and every one of them that gets killed will drop an orb, and you'll drop just a ton of orbs, and basically you can refill yours. They took that out. They took it out. Or there's another one for warlocks with the void blocks when they throw the big ball.
Right.
They could wear that skull helmet or whatever it was, and depending on how much damage was done, it would refill, and you'd pretty much almost get super right back after you did a good launch on a bunch of enemies. So they took that out.
So is there anything that simulates Mayhem's level of super regaining that they took out?
I have it in my... I have it from... Again, I don't have a Titan, but I have it in my Hunter with... they're the shard gloves. I don't know what they're called, but they're these gloves that you have on there. They're exotic. They're exotic gloves. Yeah, when I fire off my blades.
For the Hunter?
Yeah.
I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, I know. When I fire off my blades, super, if I kill everything that's right there doesn't count. It only counts for damage you inflict.
Mm-hmm.
If you inflict enough damage with them without killing the target, it comes up over halfway, well over halfway full, to recharging my super again. That helps in the Vex offensive. That helped in the Blind Well a lot against the bosses at the end, because you'd pick up one of those. I don't know. Did you ever do Blind Well? You didn't, because you don't have Forsaken.
Nope.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Certain enemies that you would kill in a Blind Well would drop this orb. When you picked up the orb, it regenerated your super extra fast for 15 seconds. And that helped you take down these bosses that were there, took a bit to take down. And that's the only way you could do damage on the bosses if you had one of those buffs anyway. So you had to pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, you had to pick up that. That's the only way you could damage the boss, is if you had one of those buffs. Although once his shield was down, that's the only way you could damage them, through their shield. Put it that way. Once you got rid of the shield, everybody could then do their damage. But for me as a hunter in there with these gloves, I would pick up this instant recharge thing, whatever it was, fire off my blades. The fact that it did not kill them would increase my super enough, and because I also had the buff that would recharge my super, it would fill. I mean, I was boom, 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 boom. Same thing in Gambit. If you go, Gambit is best 2 out of 3, but if you win a match and then they win a match, then you've got to play the third round. The third round is called sudden death, which means you don't have to do the usual Gambit stuff. They just throw the boss out there, and the first person to get rid of the boss wins. But in the meantime, everybody has a fast super regeneration on that round.
Now, is it whoever administers the final shot gets the credit? Because I can see someone steal and get like 75% of the work done, then someone comes in and takes the remaining 25% done.
There was no benefit to that.
Okay.
In other words, there was nothing gained by getting a final blow on a boss. Like
okay, because you're saying whoever took out the boss.
No, not players, team, because Gambit is a team-based activity.
Okay.
So, they're in a different instance than you are.
Okay, it's two separate things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gambit is not PvP. Gambit is you and your team versus somebody else's team. A team of 4. So you're on a team of 4, and the goal is kill enemies, collect these thing called motes of light, deposit them into the bank. After 75 have been deposited, the boss drops for you.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the other team, if they're still trying to work on theirs, they're over in their own instance. You can't see them. You can't do anything with them.
All right.
Yeah. And they're trying to do the same thing. And you can see the bars at the top of the screen filling up. Gray is how many motes everybody's currently carrying, while a solid color of either blue or red means this is what they've deposited so far. So whenever there's a big gray bar, that's a good time to invade the other team. If you have one, if you have the ability to invade the other team and try and pick them off, so they'll lose motes if they die and haven't turned them in. So, but yeah, the sudden death round is when the boss pops up on both sides, and the first team to kill their boss wins. It's the same boss for everybody, but there's an extra recharge, and that's why I'm saying the gloves that I have, whenever I pop off my blades, fills it back up and almost then some, and pretty much gives me an instant super again. So it's helpful to have a hunter with those on a sudden death round of Gambit. But I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. I will say that what I played is nothing but Destiny 2. So
then there's your Destiny talk right there.
I know. Finished up the story. Last Sunday I finished all of my other thing. Oh God, last Sunday was brutal. Because I was working on one of those clan bounties.
Yeah.
And the clan bounty that I had was play 10 rounds of Gambit with clan members. So
only clan members.
Yeah, so just had to be somebody else in your team that's from the clan.
Well, what percentage of
just
the team?
One other person.
Just one, with one other clan member. Okay.
I mean, you could do a full clan team of 4 if you wanted to, but it only required you to have one other person on the team in your clan. But so Random and I went through and did 10 rounds of Gambit. It was so draining.
I bet it was.
And then when we got done with that, we moved on to Crucible, because that was all I needed left out of that. You only have to play 8 rounds of Crucible.
I figure 10 rounds is enough of Gambit, you go right into Crucible.
I know, it was rough. Didn't have to do that this week, though.
Okay.
See, last week was an outlier because I had to go... I had to play the story and all this stuff, and I was playing with James, and so I really just wanted to finish the story with him. Since we had started the story, I thought, well, let me just finish this with him. So I didn't want to get ahead of myself. So I had to wait until he played. And finally, when he played, we got everything done, then I could kind of move on. This week, I didn't have that issue. This week was just as soon as the Tuesday reset hit, I'm there to do my usual stuff. Grind out a Nightfall, grind out the strikes, go do the Vex Offensive, go do the Lost Sect, all this stuff that you got to go do, knocking that all out. And as of last night, I finished it up. So now I'm just sitting like, what do I want to do? Do I want to start on my second character tomorrow? Maybe. I don't know. Do I want to, I've got a lot of bounties that I'm holding on to that require you to get like a ton of kills on different things. Do I want to grind on that some and see if I can get that knocked out? Do I want to work on this exotic weapon quest that needs me to go kill this many Vex or something like that? I've got the opportunity to go do that, but I kind of feel like, hey, I put in my time. I'm good. I don't need to get to this right now. I can wait. So I might do that. I have another project that I'm going to be working on tomorrow that is not game related at all. I'll be working on some of that tonight and then tomorrow. But yeah. So
Now, so you got the patience for that. The strikes and Nightfalls, things like that. Little things like that. But personally, I don't have the patience to go through Crucible or anything Crucible related 8 to 10 times in a row. I couldn't do it.
The Crucible stuff I don't mind. I have if you got the right loadout of weapons, you can somewhat enjoy yourself. I mean, it was the thing of it is that I don't look at it as having to play 8 rounds of Crucible. Yes, I have to play the 8 rounds in order to get the rewards. You have to play 4 rounds. The way they've switched it off, you're playing 4 rounds of one playlist and 4 rounds of a different playlist. And I was basically working on the bounties. You have to do 8 bounties for each person at the tower now. I don't know if that works for you or not, but now, instead of getting daily powerful rewards and stuff like that, for the gunsmith, you got to do 8 bounties. And you'll get a powerful reward. For the Vanguard, 8. For Gambit, 8. For Crucible, 8. For, I feel like I'm leaving somebody out, but yeah. So you got to do 8 bounties per person there. So I go to the Crucible, and I've just picked up 8 bounties. And so I'm just playing those matches to focus on those 8 bounties. Get this many kills with the submachine gun. Okay, that's what I'm going to focus on. Do I have one that says gets this many void kills? Well, let me make sure the submachine gun is a void submachine gun so I can knock 2 out at one time. And so that's all I'm playing for. It's not necessarily that I got to play 8 matches. I do. But I also need to do these bounties, and within those 8 matches, I was able to get them all done. I was actually finished before I got all 8. I think I had 1 match left, and I was just like, let's just finish this off and get my powerful and be done. And that's what it did. So, sorry to run off on a tangent on Destiny 2. I swear to you, I don't want to make this a regular thing. I promise I don't.
But it will be.
Yeah.
Because it's a game you have fun playing, so.
It is, but what? We spent, 15 minutes talking about it?
Just about.
Fine. We're done. As you know, all the music that we play in October is from scary games. Well, sort of. I was amazed that, I wasn't amazed. Last week, I picked games from 2019 that fall into a horror, scary genre type of thing. We had Blair Witch on there. We had some obscure titles on there as well, but it was all there. Some of it sounded very strange. Some of it was just kind of noises more than it was music or something
It's more
like
atmospheric than anything else, yeah.
But I really felt like I was going to have to dip into the replay well to fill out this week's music. But I was able to find, and I save all this stuff, I was able to find music that we have not played before. Once I broadened it to not include music from scary games. The way that works is, for instance here, in Super Mario World, you go into a haunted house, and there's music.
It's a scary section in most games anyway, so
right?
There you go.
So I just said, okay, we'll use those. And I was able to get 7 tracks that we've never played before. So this first one is Super Mario World, and it is the Ghost House from Super Mario World. So we'll be back with more in-game chats right after this. And I promise, I don't think even in our news, our news has no Destiny talk whatsoever. So done with that. It'll be all news stories coming up next here on In-Game Chat. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music here from the sequel to, I guess it's the sequel, I think it was the 3DS version or something, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is what it's called. And this track is called Evershade Mansion, Evershadow Mansion, I think. So, I never played that, although I know Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming out at the end of the month. Kind of curious about that since I've never played a single Luigi's Mansion game.
I must have been doing something right. There's 3 of them now.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think they're bad at all. You know, it gives some focus on that it's a Luigi game. Not that it matters. It doesn't matter if it's Luigi or Mario, but... so I don't know. Go to the phone, talk to Chris. Hey, Chris.
What's going on?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Same thing, but y'all were talking about the computer issues with RJ. That sounds like something's holding back this performance on the computer, some setting or something that it's, holding back its performance or something. But
didn't you also say you can't get into the BIOS?
Yeah, I can't get into BIOS. Every Windows instruction it's giving me gives me this black screen. I can't get to it. Like it tries to do it and then it gets stuck.
That's not good.
No, it's not. Because getting to the BIOS is kind of important. So
that is weird. Anyway, but of course, if y'all were fans of Final Fantasy VII and the remake that's coming, Square sent me an email that they just say, "No, here, take my money." They're releasing a limited edition LP record set of music from the original and the remake that has pictures on the records, and like, here, you got me.
Yeah, I got an email about that. Of course, I'm not in the. Final Fantasy has never done anything for me, so, I was not. But I did get an email about it, that they were doing something like that, so.
So how many tracks comes on the LP, Chris?
I'd have to look, but it looks like it's like 5 or 6 on both sides, so at least 10 or 11, maybe 12 on both games the way it's looking at it. I got a track list on the info of it, so
yeah.
I have to go back and look at it, but it's a pretty decent, good selection.
It is, yeah, no, it was a good, like if I was a Final Fantasy fan, this would be a collection I would just jump on. But I never have been, never appealed to me, but yeah, no, the collection is worth it.
Yeah. It's kind of like you and steelbooks and games that you like and movies that you like, like, here, take my money, you got me.
Yeah, I may drive over to the Best Buy here after the show, pick up another one. I didn't put a pre-order on it. I still hasn't triggered me to like must have type thing. But Toy Story 4 has a steelbook out, so I may pick that up. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not, for whatever reason, I'm not in that mood of like, I gotta have that. What did I pick up recently that I adored? As far as a steelbook, The Shining in 4K. That is a beautiful steelbook.
What was the image they put on there?
It is the title. It's a yellow steelbook, solid yellow with black lines. Now, from far away, the black lines make the maze, the hedge maze that is in the film. I don't know if you've ever seen The Shining.
Yeah.
There's that whole hedge maze.
Yeah.
But as you look closer, the lines making up the hedge maze are saying all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work, no play makes Jack, and all the way around the entire thing. And it's just really, really beautiful. Plus, I think the film, from what I read of reviews, the 4K transfer of that is just stunning. So I was happy to pick that up. And I got Spider-Man Far From Home. I picked that up as well, which is like, okay,
Okay. While I'm here, just
well, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh man, I prefer the classics. I also picked up Gremlins. I have a soft spot for Gremlins, kind of like I do with the Goonies. And like the steelbook on it's like it's okay.
So it's more for the film instead of the steelbook?
Well, it's an odd. I tell you, it's an odd looking steelbook.
For the Goonies?
No, for Gremlins.
So it's not the it's not Spike tearing up the Christmas packages or
No,
anything?
no. It's Gizmo standing in front of 3 neon lights that have the no water, no food, and then like no whatever food after midnight, no water. That's no bright light.
No bright light, no water, no food.
Yeah, it's really strange because I don't understand that. And I'm sorry, Chris, we're getting off tangent. It's really strange because there's no reference to the film whatsoever, other than like, oh, those are the rules. But the rules are lit in this weird neon red with Gizmo on the front of it, and I'm like, I don't understand this. But I still picked it up because it's the first time that they put the film in 4K, and so I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and get it. I don't actually own it, with the exception of, I think, on DVD way back when. I never picked it up on Blu-ray, so I didn't actually own it. So I was like, okay, pick it up. So I did.
Yeah, there's a bunch of movies I wanted to pick up on Blu-ray, just never got around to.
Yeah. I never got Gremlin. I never picked that up. I never picked up Gremlins.
Yeah. Let's see. Blazing Saddles, of course. I picked that up. The Last Starfighter, picked that up.
I never got Back to the Future on Blu-ray because I remember when they issued that in a big.
It was a big collection.
It was a big deal. Yeah. Well, it was a big deal when they issued it on DVD. I'm sorry, when they issued it on DVD, it was a big deal. However, after it was released, a lot of people reported that there were some cropping instances on one of the films where the letterbox and stuff like this was really screwing it up. Well, I passed on it, and I passed, and I passed, and I passed, and I never ended up getting it until they released it on Blu-ray, where it not only came with all 3 films, it came with the animated series included with it, and a bunch of other, like, it felt very definitive to me, and plus they had fixed all the issues, and so I was like, all right, I'll get you now. And I bought that. I same day double dipped on that in many ways. I got the big collection that came with the films, the animated series, all that stuff. That was in one packaging. Then Target had a limited edition steelbook for all 3 movies.
Limited edition.
And it was just the 3 movies.
Yeah.
And so I picked that up. The UK had limited edition 3 different ones for the first one, the second one, and the third one. And so I picked up those 3 as well. And that was all day one that I did a double dip on that. But that's Back to the Future. I have a hoverboard hanging up in my house, so I mean,
you're a fan.
I am, and I've got a, I don't know what the scale DeLorean model that is, but it hasn't been taken out of the box yet. It's still sitting on my floor. It takes up a ton of space.
Keep it in the box.
I know, and so
not that you'll sell it. I mean, come on.
No, I am. I know. Fubo used to. I am worse than you. Actually, I am. You're actually better than me because you haven't let your addiction do this to you. But that's what he's saying in the. He says in the chat room. He says, "I love steelbooks," and then he says, "Okay, you're worse than me." After I ranted off on all this stuff.
Scott, the caveat here. Scott likes well-designed steelbooks.
I do, but
not that lazy stuff that some.
But then sometimes I don't because I picked up, like I said, I got Gremlins. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If I already owned the film. Even if I already owned the film on Blu-ray, I'd have looked at this and thought, I'll pass. Because it's not just not. It doesn't stand out as a film. As a steelbook that I'm going to get. Now I picked up. See, to relate this, we're never going to get back on the topic of games. To relate this,
That's okay.
This is me trying to explain, probably more to myself than anyone else, why I do what I do. But to relate this to Spider-Man, right?
Right.
Spider-Man Far From Home, I picked up the steelbook. It's a gaudy steelbook. It really is. It's the movie poster on the front of it, and I hate those. I'm like, put some originality into it. And they didn't. But I'm going to pick up the movie anyway. You know, I'm buying the movie anyway, so I'll just go ahead and get it that way. What's another one that's coming out soon? I think Lion King comes out in the next few weeks, and I have no interest.
That live action one?
Yeah, I have no interest. I have no interest in the film, much less. Another one I skipped on was the new Men in Black movie. I had no interest in that. And
I
the
heard that was
steelbooks.
bad.
Yeah, and the steelbook's
International?
not that great. Yeah,
I heard it was bad.
steelbook's not that great either. What did I pick up recently that had a really, really nice look to it?
Horror, sci-fi, cartoon series.
I can't remember.
Wasn't a drama, was it?
I can't remember what it was. I may be thinking of The Shining because that was just beautiful.
Okay.
No, I can't remember. I can't remember what it was.
It'll come to you after the show.
It will. Oh, I know what it was, and I haven't picked it up yet, but it's coming out in the next couple of weeks. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That, if you go to Best Buy and look up the steelbook for it,
Okay.
that does what steelbook should do. We have an opportunity to art this thing up and not just slap the movie poster on the front of it. And so they didn't. They arted the thing up, and it looks fantastic. It's got some original art on the front of it. It's very good art, and I really like it. So, yeah. Does it show a picture of it?
Black with the red lettering and the stylized design of a screaming face on the front.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. Yeah, John Wick had a really good, had a really nice steelbook too. Let me look at it.
I never saw John Wick. Heard enough about it, but never saw it.
You're doing yourself a disservice, sir.
There's tons of movies I haven't seen, but
I know, but John Wick, those three films really stand out. First one's great. Second one is right up there with the first. The third one is probably a little bit lower than the first two as far as quality, but still just good. Hey, Chris, did you have a question you want to say? I didn't realize we just kind of left you hanging there, and I apologize.
I'll just nothing but a good trigger for rambling on about memories and stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm the same way. We all have our tendencies to love to talk about what we love, right?
Right. I mean, and sort of explain why we spend money on these things that we do. So.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but as long as we like it, it makes sense to us, and it's okay.
This is true, sir. This is true. Hey, thanks for calling, man.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Take care.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, the Scary Stories you start, it's great. Well, I say it's great. It's brown. It's got the red lettering and everything else. That's the artwork for it. It's fantastic. I love that. It's not like, hey, we slapped a poster on here. There you go. Enjoy. Hate when they do that. So, in-game, nice steelbook. In-game. I did get that. I didn't like in-game steelbook. I could point out the reasons why, but it wouldn't make any sense over the air. It really wouldn't make any sense over the air. I wasn't fond of it. I was hoping, because I had seen other artwork where people said, I hope this is the way the steelbook looks, and they'd used other artwork, and I thought, oh, that's really nice. And then when I finally saw it, I thought, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But I still picked it up. Yeah, so... And I agree, all three John Wick films are phenomenal. I will. If I rate them, though, within themselves, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. The first one is just fantastic and phenomenal. It sets off the entire thing. In fact, if you ever watch all three of them, and I don't necessarily know if you'll watch them back to back, but within a short amount of time together, you'll understand that the dude hasn't rested. Like... The first film takes place over whatever course of time that it does, which is not very long. But the second one picks up right after the first, and that one takes place over a certain amount of time, which is not very long. And then the third one picks up right after the second, and again. So it's all like, this has only been like a couple of days in this man's life.
All three movies.
covering a couple of days in this man's life. I'm serious. It's just boom, 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 and they're just fantastic. So
it all started with someone messing with his dog.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what we were going to talk about this section, but I will say to update you back to video game talk for a minute, for as long as we can until we get derailed again. The Frogware situation with Sherlock Holmes, it looks like they have gotten everything back to themselves as far as PC is concerned. GOG has it seems to be the best place to pick up those titles. For the next 11 hours, when was this posted? Monday, October 7th, so this is over with. For the next 11 hours, you can get Sherlock Holmes games on GOG and a few other Frogware titles at a heavy discount, with at least half off the titles in their back catalog. Plus, if you pick up Crimes and Punishment right now and get Sherlock Holmes, you'll get Sherlock Holmes and the Hound of the Baskervilles for free. This was posted on Monday, so that's already over with. Odd thing is that on Tuesday, and I think we've got enough time that we can talk about this, and if anybody wants to call in with their thoughts on this as well, but out of nowhere, and again, I don't know how Sony's going to do things. You know, they do these state of plays where they talk about stuff coming up, and they really only hold it to gaming things, you know, like here's a new game that we're working on, here's a game that's coming up, here's a game coming out in the next few months, you know.
Right.
They really focus on the here and now rather than the way far out type stuff.
Yeah.
But apparently the only way we're going to get details on another PlayStation console is random press releases, which is what we got on Tuesday. Just out of nowhere in a Wired article, Sony talked about the PlayStation 5. It will be called the PS5. It will be out for holiday 2020. So next year, next holiday is when the PS5 is coming out. I feel bad now telling, I've forgotten what his name was that called in. Remember when he was calling in, going to get a PS4?
Jesse?
Pro? Jesse, Jason, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad now that I told you, like, you know, we don't know because we didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that it'll make the holiday 2020. It might get pushed back. Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting it to.
Yeah. The console will have a solid-state drive. Games will be released on 100-gigabyte discs. The PlayStation 5 reads physical media via a 4K Blu-ray drive. I'm hoping that they mean that'll be a true 4K situation now. PS4 Pro is not true 4K spec-wise. And display-wise, really. It's not true 4K. It delivers a fantastic image. Trust me, God of War and that sort of thing, beautiful.
Yep.
But you're still not seeing it in true 4K. The difference is probably negligible between, honestly, what you can see. If, for some reason, we had a 4K God of War and a PS4 Pro God of War, and I could put them side by side, you more than likely would not be able to tell the difference because it's that close,
right.
But it's not true. So, yeah, I feel like they'll have caught up in that regard by then. As with games this generation, they'll need to be installed from the disc, though Sony is now saying that players will have more granular control of which parts of a game they want to install or uninstall, the campaign, the multiplayer, that sort of thing. Like, just put the campaign on here, don't install the other stuff.
Okay. Piecemeal. Okay.
Which is not a bad idea.
No,
we're getting to that point where...
Yeah. It's like, imagine Last of Us. If you're not thinking about multiplayer aspects at all with The Last of Us, why bother putting that into the game, taking up space?
Yeah.
Putting it in your hard drive, taking up space.
I mean, we're getting to that point where that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And hopefully other people will...
I think especially with the talk about what happened with Red Dead Redemption 2, the biggest talking point was how big the game was.
Yeah.
Despite how good it is and how much fun it is and how much...
Well, and I hate to go back to it, but this is a problem that Bungie's been worried about for Destiny 2 for a long time. Since they're not coming out with a Destiny 3, since they've got 5 more years of Destiny 2 content to produce,
right.
It's only going to get bigger because you've still got all these other aspects from the previous, from Forsaken, the base title, everything else from year 1, year 2, now we're in year 3.
Yeah, I'm on the base title alone. I don't have Forsaken.
And it's 160 gigs, I think.
For both of them?
For the whole shebang. It's 160 some odd gigs, I think. So for me, it would be nice if I could say, okay, don't install the Forges, don't install this, don't install Crucible.
Don't
whatever
install
the case.
Crucible. Yeah,
I mean, I understand it's an online type game, so there may be some differences there, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a possibility we could get to that whole piecemeal thing where we only need to install whatever it is that we want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Last of Us is a good example where I could just say, just put the main campaign.
Yeah.
And don't put the
multiplayer.
Don't put the DLC on there. Just the main campaign, and I'll put the DLC on later.
Yeah.
Something that gives everybody a choice. Choices are always good. Mm-hmm. The other bullet point on this, the PS5 revised user interface will show more information about what can be done in a game, including the availability of multiplayer matches. Wired's writer held a prototype of the new controller and wrote that it seems similar to a PS4 controller. It will include a speaker and something called adaptive triggers that can offer varying levels of resistance to make shooting a bow and arrow feel like the real thing. I have heard this forever and ever and ever. Everything new that comes around, regardless if it's a controller or anything else, it's always, it makes you feel like you're actually there. It makes you feel like you're doing the actual thing. Sure, that's fine. I can tell you in a frantic fight or anything else, I want my gun to fire and I want my bow to launch.
Yeah.
I don't care about your adaptive triggers. I'm like, when I pull the trigger, it better do what I told it to do.
Besides, speaking of...
I'm not thinking about the other
speaking of PS4 controllers, heck, there's some accessories they got now, the aluminum analog sticks, aluminum triggers. You can do all type of stuff with them like that and have your own setup like that. You're not thinking about adapter. You're thinking, does it work? Does it work properly? If I flick this trigger, will my bow go off? That's what.
Well, if you remember right, was it the PS3 or the PS4 that had troggers instead of triggers? The way the triggers were, they were brushed inward.
A 3 did that because I remember the 3 did that. The 3 did that because I bought aftermarket triggers to go on top of those things.
You bought these little clip-on things that put on it and made them triggers instead of the troggers. So,
in fact, I bought clip-ons and Gorilla Glue because I knew those things weren't coming off.
They were kind of falling off.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wired was also impressed with the improved haptics rumble in the controller, reporting this of their time using it to play demos. For those of you stocked up on micro USB wires for charging PS4 controllers, too bad. The PS5 controllers will be charged with the USB Type-C. So keep that in mind. Bluepoint Games has been confirmed as a developer for a game for the PS5. Said studio president, "We're working on a big one right now. I'll let you figure out the rest." Who knows what that means?
You said Bluepoint?
Yeah, they're the guys who did the Shadow of Colossus remake.
Okay.
Which was a really, really fine remake.
So do they specialize in remakes?
I don't know, because I know the other thing is that Bluepoint might be teasing a Dark Souls remake. Mm-hmm. In an interview with Wired, when asked about specific titles that are development for PS5, Marco Thrush, president of Bluepoint Games, said, "We're working on a big one right now. I'll let you figure out the rest." Rumors have been circulating for a while that Bluepoint is currently working on a full remake of Dark Souls precursor Demon Souls. Despite the obvious links to From Software's later games, the Demon Souls IP is owned by Sony. So it's technically separate from the rest of the Souls series. However, fans have been clamoring for a remake since long before the release of Dark Souls Remastered in 2018. Many of Bluepoint's game projects have been on Sony-owned properties. Gravity Rush Remastered, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, Shadow of the Colossus. It makes sense that this big one is another game with deep links to Sony. However, the studio also has ties to Konami through the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, and EA and Microsoft via the Xbox 360 port of Titanfall. So who knows what that's going to be? No idea. So anyway, that was our news on PlayStation 5. There is no other, news to report on that, and it'll just come in the way of, here's a random press release. What do we have? We have some chat in there. Let's see. I feel like download speed will still be maxed at 1 megabyte. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you'll get updates every few hours. They'll push out an update for the system.
Yeah.
So just like they did before. Yeah, so we'll see how this pans out. We got to take our next break, and again, we're focusing on scary games and the music from them. I realized in all these years, which we've been doing this since 2016 as far as the Halloween music, or at least me saving them so I know what we've played.
Yeah.
And we have never played, none of the titles that we played today we've never played, but I'm so surprised that a couple of these have slipped by me. This one being going back to the JLN from the NES days. I think it was JLN.
LJN.
Or LJN.
The memorably bad games put out.
Based on movies, yeah.
Yeah. Back to the Future.
They did Back to the Future as one of them. Yeah, I know.
Woo.
They did Jaws. They did Knight Rider. They also did Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So this is the music from Nightmare on Elm Street from the NES Classic. Sure. We'll be back with the morning game chat after this. It's loud. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music from New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and I think it carries on into like Super Mario Maker and stuff like that, but this is the Ghost House music from that particular version. Weird thing is that I noticed, this music shares something with a bit that we have been playing on the morning show forever, and I don't know how he's got it spelled, so I'm going to try.
Like for a section of the morning show?
No, I don't see it. So I don't know how he's got it labeled. It's called Discount Dracula. And I wanted to see if I could find it. I don't see it. It's a funny little bit. Yeah, I don't see it. Don't know what it's called. How he's got it labeled, so I'm not sure. Use the same music. When I was getting this music, I realized, wait, that's the Discount Dracula music. I'm wondering if they paid the rights for that when they did it, because
they'll find out.
I'm curious. I'm very curious. Nope, still don't see anything. That sucks. Like if dude would just call it Discount Dracula, I'd be able to find the thing. But he doesn't. Stops at disco. See, this is the thing. Whenever he goes out of town and I'm left to operate the board for the morning show and stuff, I can't find anything. Because you would think, I've looked up Dracula, Discount Dracula, Halloween, nothing. So I have no idea. Okay, now he's got it as Hal, maybe?
This is going to bother him for the rest of the show, folks.
It will. Yes, it will. Okay, I see. Okay, so he's got Hal. There's Candy. There's Song. No Candy. Three Stooges. Candy. Barney Candy. Costume. Countdown. Countdown. Okay, we got Dracula. Nah, that's not. No. Haunted House Foreclosed. Cyberspace. Printer's Candy. There's like a ton of stuff, but not the stupid Dracula one that I want. Mayhem. Monster. Cash. Montage. Oh, I didn't know we had Morgan Freeman. I'll be using that on the last one. Remind me, I need to use my Morgan Freeman stuff. I always do it for Christmas, but I've never done it for Halloween. So I want to use that for Halloween. God, there's a bunch. Yeah, I realize that this is just making fascinating radio. Okay, now it's done. And there's nothing. Yeah, see, there's Halloween stuff, but there ain't a single Halloween discount Dracula, and it's just annoying. So, anyway, welcome back to the show. When I do find that, I will try and play it for you in the weeks to come if I can figure out how to find it. But I did find those Morgan Freemans. I'm interested in playing those. Let's get back to the news. So we talked about our PlayStation 5. Doom Eternal got delayed until March of 2020. That's fine. I don't really care. I wasn't really hankering for Doom.
I didn't get to play the one that came out.
I played a little bit of it.
I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. I enjoyed it, the little bit that I played. But, yeah, I didn't get around to playing the whole thing. Somebody broke into Valve.
Yeah, I heard, yeah. Broke in and stole...
a man is being summoned to appear in court in Washington after breaking into Valve and stealing over $40,000 worth of games and equipment. According to a local news station, 32-year-old Sean Shaputis already had 6 warrants out for his arrest when Valve brought burglary charges against him in September. He has since been captured on camera stealing stolen games at a GameStop. Should he fail to appear in court, another warrant will be issued. Police say he is the same suspect who stole a FedEx truck in July of 2018 and was caught just 1 week after being arrested for different strings of burglaries. Yeah. $40,000 worth of equipment and games. I don't know, is it easy to break into Valve? Not that I need to know. I'm not putting together a heist or anything.
Well, don't care if it's easy or not. He broke in there. That's bottom line.
Makes me curious, just a little tad bit curious on how he pulled that off, but especially how he made off with $40,000 worth of games and equipment. I mean, they are a video game developer, so even a small piece of equipment might cost upwards of $10,000 or so.
Yeah.
So 4 of those and you're good to go. I really have no idea, but
games I can see them moving, but the development kits, things like that, I don't know how you move that.
Got the system requirements for Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC, and the pre-order bonuses that come with it. You're not able to pre-order just yet that I know of. I don't know when pre-orders start. I think it's on the 15th or the 16th. But yeah, you can odd thing is, you can pre-order it from a lot of places, and you'll be able to play it the day it releases unless you pre-order it from Steam. You'll have to wait until sometime in December before you do that. Still weird. Still strange on that. Like, it feels like somebody bought that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they said, hey, Rockstar was like, we're going to release Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC, but we're not going to be jerks about it. We're putting it on all the platforms, even our own. Or make it like one of the state stores of liquor where it's like, look, you can't sell it lower than what we sell it for. You can't undercut us, but we will put it on your store. They can buy it from us for $40, but you cannot sell it for less than $50. So it seems like they might do that sort of deal. The strange thing is that it's available on GOG. Or, no, I don't think on GOG. On maybe it is on GOG, but it's Epic Game Store. I think on the Windows Game Store or whatever, the Rockstar launcher that they recently did. All those locations going to be available, but Steam doesn't get a release until December. So it's like they said this, and Steam was like, "Oh, that sounds great," and Epic was like, "Yeah, that's pretty great," and then like nudged them off to the side, Rockstar, and said, "Look, you slap a delay on the Steam, and we'll slide you, we'll slide you a money hat if you just keep it off Steam for a little while." And Rockstar was like, "That's only worth about a month to us. You want to increase it? No, it's fine."
Yeah. I think the issue we had was that not much of an exclusive, like a month, really.
It's a month, but that's strange.
Yeah, it's strange. It's a month. I mean, the exclusivity, you think at least 3-6 months.
Well, no,
like
I mean, not even that. It's just strange that that's the only one that gets the delay. Epic doesn't get the delay. The other stores don't get the delay. If anything, you would think we're going to put it on our, like, okay, so maybe they don't do the discount. Maybe Rockstar just says, look, it's going on our store first for a month, and then it's going out to you guys. And again, Epic nudges them and says, if I give you some money, we just put it on this like Steam delay and put it on everybody else's. Okay. You know, I don't know. I don't know why I'm making Epic out to be the bad guys. I just figured they're the only ones with probably enough money to, you know, flash in front of Rockstar to say, yeah, put a little delay on Steam. And Steam just either not thinking about it or not caring or not worried about it. Just saying like, okay.
Taking the light of not caring, not worried about it.
We'll take the December release, no problem. Thanks for noticing. Now they're Eeyore. But I don't know why I don't understand. I don't know. Sometimes.
I'm not worried about, I wouldn't be worried about a month, though.
Actually, a lot of times, I wish I could be a fly on the wall of some decisions that are made.
Oh, yeah.
So I could figure out exactly what the situation is. I want to be a fly on the wall to figure out why BioShock Infinite got changed the way it did from what we saw to what we played when it was kind of announced like that. I want to be a fly on the wall where Ken, whatever his name is, I've already forgotten his name, but where he decides that I don't like this direction, we need to flip it around. Why? Why didn't you like it? What changed? What happened? Why? Why is the story different now? Be a fly on that wall. Be a fly on the wall of Rockstar whenever they did this. Be a fly on the wall at Rockstar when they say, let's release Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, what about Red Dead? No, we're not going to do that. Just Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, why? Because we could make it a pack-in with Red Dead Redemption 2, just a little free thing that they can only get on our store. Nah, we're not going to do that. Like, I don't know. They're offering, by the way, if you order...
I don't think they want to do free.
Well, yeah, I know. It's an old game, but, well, put it this way.
That's beside the point. There's plenty of old games that companies are unwilling to give out for free.
Like, but if you order the game off of Rockstar's launcher, you get 2 free Rockstar games to pick from. And it can be Max Payne 3, Bully, GTA...
San Andreas.
Well, GTA San Andreas, with a couple. GTA 3, the original.
Okay.
GTA San Andreas, or GTA Vice City. 6 different games are on the list. You can pick 2 if you buy that game off of Rockstar's launcher. You know? The cool thing would have been like, oh, by the way, here's Red Dead Redemption. But you can only get it as one of your 2 free choices if you buy it from Rockstar. In other words, it's not going to be available anywhere else. It's part of their deal of getting a free game. So... marketing, man.
Yeah.
I could be like, that's what you do. Fly on the wall. Then I would, I'd get my wish of being a fly on the wall, but then I would want a wish of, can I talk? Can I be a talking fly?
No.
To fly up near their ear and be like, make Red Dead Redemption free. And, see if that works. But just somehow to relay it. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Like L.A. Noire was also on the list of games.
Oh, okay.
To pick from.
With that VR one or...
I doubt it. I don't think just regular one. I think it's just LA Noire on PC. But that's my thing.
I got to finish that up again.
Yeah,
I got to do that again.
But that's my thing. You have an opportunity here. I don't know why you don't just take that opportunity. So, anyway, What else did we get? Sony Interactive Entertainment laid off dozens of people in the UK and the US. I don't think I have a explanation as to why that happened.
I don't know.
They laid off staff in both the Europe and American offices. A cross-discipline restructuring that took place the same day as their big PlayStation 5 announcement.
Wait, say that again.
Cross-disciplined restructuring. I don't know what that means. But sources speaking to VGC say that at least in the UK offices, dozens were affected across marketing, PR, and other divisions. In the United States, those layoffs extended to an unknown number on the creative services team as well. The restructure aims to bring control... I'm reading this sentence weird. The restructure aims to bring control Sony Interactive Entertainment's operations under a more centralized model, a shift that ultimately began last year and has now seemingly led to a number of positions being made redundant, including this week's layoffs. We've reached out to Sony for more information. So, Not only that, somebody from Microsoft is leaving after 20 years.
We mentioned last week about someone leaving after such a long time at the company. Who was it? From Sony, wasn't it?
That was Sean Layden. Yeah.
Yeah, from Sony, right?
Yeah.
So
that was abrupt.
Yeah. Is this one abrupt too?
Not that I know. Mike something Yabara, I think. He is the corporate vice president of Microsoft's gaming division across Xbox and PC. He announced his departure from the company after almost 20 years. Announcing his departure on Twitter, he wrote, "After 20 years at Microsoft, it's time for my next adventure. It's been a great ride, and the future is bright thanks to everyone at Team Xbox. Incredibly proud of what we've accomplished, and I wish you the best." He also promised to share news of his next venture soon, only revealing that he was super excited about his future endeavors. So, yeah. Doesn't sound like it's a bad thing, but... And I don't really see it as being that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or if it is, they got their damage control well in hand.
Yeah.
Before it got out of hand. Epic Games Store now has Surviving Mars for free. So make sure you pick that up. Ubisoft is making Watch Dogs into a cyber mystery cartoon for preteens. So let me go back to Fly on the Wall. I want to be in the meeting with the suits and the ties sitting around this... I can only assume a nice office conference room table.
Yeah.
And they're hashing out plans of like, let's get some more alternative revenue streams. We're doing the games, but let's see what else we can do in media. And cartoons are good for the kids. What do we got on the cartoon sides? Well, we got Rayman. We could probably do a cartoon on Assassin's Creed if we want to go a little anime adult with it if we want to.
Like Castlevania did.
Maybe not that much, but yeah.
Well, I don't know, man.
Castlevania is fantastic.
Yeah.
But they got Warren Ellis to write that, man. I mean, they pulled in a good writer for that thing, and it really starts there if you want to make something that's long term. They did a really good job of the animation on I think it was for Ezio when they did the. It's a short, but it's basically his final days.
Yeah, living
out his final days.
Yeah,
and it was not bad. It was not bad at all the way that they did that. So, there's roads to go down for them. Far Cry, what's another one? They got the Tom Clancy series all over the place. They could do some great stuff with Tom Clancy, but they picked. They picked Watch Dogs.
So
Watch Dogs is being turned into a mystery show for tweens. And there was a screenshot of it, or at least maybe concept art or something from it, and it looks horrible. While these shows are being developed by Ubisoft, Netflix is working on a movie based on The Division.
So you're trying to figure out why Watch Dogs?
Not just why Watch Dogs. They're doing Watch Dogs because it's tie in with the game. I understand that. They do. Assassin's Creed Embers is what I was talking about, Fugle. But they're doing Watch Dogs because the game's coming up and they'll tie it in. But I don't think anybody who's picking up Watch Dogs is really interested in watching a animated tween show about solving mysteries. Not to the content that Watch Dogs caters to, that I would think, or to what they produce. That just doesn't seem to line up. I'm not the fly on the wall. I don't know where this decision came from. Maybe it wasn't in a big office with suits and ties and conference room stuff. Maybe it was at some dude's home with
maybe at a bar,
all sorts of paraphernalia.
I was about to say maybe at a bar.
And the dude, well, I was going to say bong, but and so dude was like, "Oh, it'd be cool."
Man, you sound like Robert Wool's stand-up years ago talking about how the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came into existence.
Right? Somebody was doing some kind of drug.
Yeah.
Although I think, from what I understand, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff was supposed to be a parody off of some of the comic books that were being done at the time, with Daredevil and I want to say Dark Knight Returns and stuff like that. Everybody was going edgy and all these things, and they're like, well, let's put that edge, but let's make something really ridiculous, but add that edge to it and see what happens. And it's like, oh crap, it's successful. Now we've got to expand this world.
Yeah, well, it was funny to me because my first exposure to it was that cartoon, and then I went to Walden Books and found a graphic novel of it, and I was like, oh,
right,
this is better.
Oh no, of course,
it's much better.
Yeah, of course it was.
There's actual. Yeah, when someone gets hit with a sword, there's actual injury, not just sparks flying because they're all robots. No,
but they were
a person under there.
But they were good. They were Laird and what's the other guy's name?
Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird.
Yeah, Peter Laird, Kevin Eastman. They were good in seeing that they have this very adult thing, and somebody with Fox Television, I think, comes along and says, "We want to make a children's cartoon based on your adult thing."
Yeah,
and they were wise enough to say, sure, and not say, no, you can't turn this into a kid thing. Look how adult this is. Look at these books. Look how adult this. You can't turn that into that. No, they were willing to say, sure, we don't care. And, bank for them in that regard. The movies and everything else that came out afterwards, and it's just, boom, phenomenon.
Yeah.
And they were able to ride that wave. So, I mean, maybe that's a way to look at it here.
Because heck, that was 1984 when that came out.
Yeah,
so, yeah, 84. So yeah, this and all this time later, still known,
and it's still looked at as a children's thing too.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Rarely do you see anything. Characters are pulled from the comics, but
the comics I still get, and not the comics aren't children aimed at children.
Okay, I was going to say, did they ever water them down? Did they ever?
No, there's still some pretty graphic stuff going on.
I wasn't sure. Yeah. I know that sometimes the phenomenon can take over the original, of what it was there, and it's like, okay, I never read any of the books, but James tells me whenever we've talked that Harry Potter, for instance, just as an example of how things change. By the time the films had come out, she was already, I think, 3 books in. So those 3 books were good. Were done.
Yeah.
But by the time the 4th and 5th and ever how many books were coming after, I didn't read them, but you could read where she was writing for the film adaptation more than she was for a story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The writing, the style of writing had changed from those first 3 or 4 books, and suddenly you were reading something that felt like, oh yeah, this is done for a movie aspect or something like that.
Screenplay she was writing.
Yes, I don't know, but that was what came from him as his opinion.
That's what it felt like to him.
Yeah, because the influence of that had seeped into her.
Yeah.
Her mind of how she was writing these things, and it sort of, I mean, you know how science works. You have a control and you have your variables, and there was no way that she could be isolated from that to continue to do her work.
Yeah.
So, it's a product that happens, and hopefully it can maintain quality. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I'm trying to think of the times that it didn't. I felt like Batman the Animated Series had a little bit of that, because at the time it released, season 1 was nothing but Batman.
Right.
And then season 2, they introduced Robin because at that time the Schumacher films had come out and it was Batman and Robin. Batman Return, or no, Batman... Let's see, there was Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin. And Forever and Batman and Robin had a Robin integrated, and so they integrated that into the series.
Yeah. But
if I read the behind-the-scenes things on this, I want to say it was already planned to do that. But, yeah, we'll see. I'm over-talking, and we just don't have the time to do that. Well, actually, that's actually pretty good, because everything else that follows is the whole situation with Blizzard and China, or Hong Kong anyway.
Yeah.
We got a lot to cover on that. If you've got an opinion on it, you are more than welcome to throw out your opinion here on the show, because we're more than welcome to hear what you think about it. I would love to find a condensed summary of it all so that I can give you an account of everything that has taken place. I will do my best to give that to you coming up. And I will still also have a disclaimer to say before that, so that I can tell you that I might be wrong on some things. But anyway, back to the music here. This is from a game called Maple Story. I'm not familiar with it, but it's one of those. I think it's one of those farming things.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it sounds like a farm type of thing that would be Maple.
Anyway, they had a Halloween event, and they had music for it. So here is that music. We'll be back with more of In-Game Chat right after this.
Halloween is here, but you still have a chance for spooky savings at Discount Dracula's Halloween Emporium. Ooh, looking for a last-minute costume? Discount Dracula's has them. How about a cape? You could go as a guy in a cape, or Zorro without the mask, or Batman on Laundry Day. Discount Dracula knows women love to look sexy on Halloween. May I suggest a cape? You can be a naughty woman wearing a cape. Meow. Discount Dracula's Halloween Emporium, located at the Strip Mall. Look for our plastic banner hanging over where the Circuit City sign used to be. Bleh, bleh.
And welcome back to In-Game Chat. Oh goodness. So yeah, I found the Discount Dracula thing.
Yep.
And they totally used the music.
Yeah.
They totally used the music from
we just heard that music.
Super Mario, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, the Ghost House part.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. There's no way they bought the rights to that.
This is Nintendo we're talking about.
I know.
Yeah, so
there's no way they bought the rights to that.
yeah.
And that bit is old. That is a really old bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the chat room, Fubu talked about this Circuit City. It's been a long time since Circuit City.
Well, yeah. I mean, Greg's been playing that bit in mornings now for years and years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Back when, it would be relevant to see a Circuit City thing,
Yeah.
But, yeah. This music that you're hearing from now comes from another LJN classic, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
The game on NES.
Yep.
This is just the overworld map of Camp Crystal Lake when you're going from cabin to cabin.
Yeah, throwing rocks at Jason.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So that's where this track comes from. We'll close the show with music from Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, which is all about the moon being haunted. And so,
what is it, Hive?
It's Hive there.
Yeah, the Hive, if overtaking the moon or whatever.
Yeah, the Hive have always been on the moon.
Okay.
Because that's, if you go back to Destiny 1, and I don't know that you played Destiny 1.
I think I did.
Yeah, Destiny 1 on the moon is when you're like at this giant door, and your ghost yells, "You've awoken the Hive," and it opens up, and all these thrall just spill out into the thing. It was a great farming section to play because you could get a lot of kills on whatever you had to get kills on to do. So
I think I did a raid with y'all on that.
You probably did King's Fall? That's the only raid we've done. And that's from the Taken.
It was something with jumping that I had to change the jump type to get through with the group. It was a certain jump.
Yeah. That was from King's Fall. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the King's Fall raid.
Okay.
Which would have been from the Taken King expansion.
Okay, that's it. Taken King, yeah.
And that took place on the Dreadnought.
Yeah, okay.
And those were Hive, but it was mostly the new Taken enemy.
Okay. Which
were the ghosts, the gray looking. They represented other. Yeah, they represented other enemies.
Yeah, silhouettes. Yeah.
And they were silhouettes. Yes, you're exactly right. But a lot of that was Hive because you did fight ogres and stuff because that's their ship. That's their whole thing. The Dreadnought was like their ship. When you go on the moon, you'll see pieces of the Dreadnought or pieces of a Dreadnought ship, just like it. But the Hive is where they built, like in the lore aspect of it, the Hive built their base on the moon, deep within it.
Okay.
So, excuse me. So, Blizzard.
Yikes.
If you ever wanted to see you ever want to see change, you ever want to see true colors, you ever want to see that sort of aspect out of, not just people, but also businesses, mess with their income. Mess with their, and I mean on a large scale. Yeah. I don't mean the whole vote with your wallet thing. Like if they produce a bad game, just don't buy it, and that should send a message to them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I'm talking real money. Look at the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. Daryl Morey put out a tweet, and it caused a firestorm.
Right?
One tweet from one person, and a firestorm for the entire organization. That's what happened.
Yeah, massive. Because the NBA gets a considerable amount of money coming out of China.
Right.
In streaming revenue and in lots of different revenues, actually. And when that stuff dries up, the NBA is like, we're going to punish that guy. We're sorry. Nah, he's gone. No more. They'll do whatever they can to protect that money.
Anything to appease those offended, yeah.
And as I can look at that as both from a personal and a business standpoint. I can easily see like, oh crap, this is messing up our bottom line. We need to fix this.
Well, that's why you said true colors in the beginning. If it's a business, you know exactly what.
Like I understand, I understand that in that aspect. However, this is dealing with. I don't want to call it humanity type of thing, but it is a human. There's a human component into this. There is a right and a wrong in this, and.
The situation to me feels like the lesser two evils. Do we step on this person or offend our bread and butter?
Because of the content, because of what they're dealing with, because of what this is, I think you have to take a humanitarian stance and say, You know, it's a tough call. I think you just leave it.
It is tough. It is tough.
I would say I think you just leave it alone. I think you don't reprimand the dude, or if you do, you don't do what they did. But also, and this is what they've done. Now I want to kind of go through the motions of what happened.
Let's get through the gist of what happened with those. But for everyone who doesn't know right now,
a Hearthstone pro player celebrated his victory at the Asia Pacific Hearthstone Grandmasters tournament during a post-match interview calling for Hong Kong's liberation from China. One day after that, Blizzard seized his prize winnings and banned him from competing in official tournaments for 1 year. The Taiwanese commentators for that match, who were hosting the tournament and on camera when he made those remarks, both of them got fired. And they don't exactly know why that was, because they had no control over what man said, and I doubt they have what we have here, which is like a dump button.
Yeah, you just put a mic in a man's face live, and then that's it. He or she's going to say whatever. You have no control what comes out of their mouth.
I have no idea if our delay is on, but I'll fix that later. During the interview, Chung was wearing a gas mask and goggles, a symbol of resistance in the Hong Kong protest, and shouted, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution for our time," a popular slogan among Hong Kong protesters. It was a moment that completely blindsided the two commentators. "The director only told me I have an interview," said the Taiwanese caster. "He didn't talk about how he's wearing a mask, so when the interview started, I wasn't sure what the situation was. So I thought that Chung could say just whatever he wanted to say." Blizzard deleted the stream. A clip of that is still being shared online. You could still go see it.
Yeah, if it's online, it's going to be saved. Someone's got it.
Nearly a day later, the commentator was contacted by Blizzard Taiwan, the organizers of that tournament, and was told that he was fired. They also issued its public statement explaining what specific rules that were broken. Blizzard does have a rule for people competing in tournaments that they aren't allowed to basically speak politically, you know. Winners aren't allowed to go on interviews and say, you know, vote Bernie Sanders or vote Donald Trump or anything like that. They're not allowed to throw that out there. And it's not necessarily specific in that regard, but it's for them to hold off on situations like this, basically. Like, let's not do this. Let's just make it more about the game and not about political affiliation. I kind of agree with that. But again, it's different if you're talking about just Democrats versus Republicans. It's different when you're talking about a government trying to do what they're doing in China with Hong Kong right now. It's a humanitarian thing. There is a clear line in this when you have that many people protesting something. I mean, it's a lot. I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but the turnout of the people in Hong Kong. Plus, it's not just the turnout of the people, it's the way that the protesters are being treated. As far as I know, most of the protesters that come out, it is completely peaceful protesting. But the resistance that is being pushed back on them by the enforcers of that is extreme. So, yeah, then let's see. This, I think, was a day later. One of the professional streamers and tournament casters for Hearthstone, named Brian Keebler, issued a statement saying that we will have no involvement in Grandmasters unless something changes following Blizzard's decision to ban that player from the tournament circuit. So he sort of resigned. I won't pretend to understand either the intricacies of the geopolitical situation in China and Hong Kong or the full extent of Blizzard's business interests there, but to me, this penalty feels like it's deeply rooted in both. The heavy-handedness of it feels like someone insisted that Blizzard make an example of this guy, not only to encourage others from similar acts in the future, but also to appease those upset by the outburst itself. That kind of appeasement is simply not something I can, in good conscience, be associated with. While I learned about the ruling, I reached out to Blizzard and informed them that I no longer feel comfortable casting the Grandmasters Finals at BlizzCon. I will not be a smiling face on camera that tactically endorses this decision. Unless something changes, I will have no involvement in Grandmasters moving forward. So then that happened. Then the next day, another caster stepped down over the controversy.
The snowball effect started.
Trying to read his statement. The player's actions to support Hong Kong speak to me far more than I could have imagined. It takes courage to stand up for what you believe in and to make sacrifices in the process. His actions are inspiring to me, and I support him wholeheartedly. He also added that he agreed with the position taken by Hearthstone personality Brian Keebler, who we just talked about, who announced that. But while casting as a side gig for Keebler, Zamora was one of the primary casters this season. For me, this is a large part of my livelihood. This is my passion. This pursuit has been my life, and I am lucky that I've been able to make it a career. But I cannot compromise my conviction. Without change, that would convince me that Blizzard will uphold their core value, every voice matters. I cannot continue casting the game. In Hearthstone, good strategic play involves making the right choice, even if that choice will sometimes cost you. You think about the range of possibilities from the other side. With the hand you're dealt, you make the best choice you can, even if the foreseeable outcomes hurt. That doesn't mean you should make worse choices. It means you do the right thing, even if you pay the price. I fully support his right to protest and have immense sympathy for his cause and for the plight of the Hong Kong people. However, in light of recent revelations that one or more casters will be stepping away, I would like to affirm that I fully intend to fulfill my contracts with Hearthstone Esports and am open to work with them in the future. I do not have to agree with the actions or policies of any employer, partner, or service to continue to be affiliated with them. My views are my own. So yeah, the backlash just kept coming.
It was all over Twitter and Facebook and every place else, man. You had all types of folks getting involved. I heard a couple of politicians got involved. You had walkouts at corporate headquarters.
Blizzard's esports leagues have in the past tried to appear neutral by laying out policies for players. It requires them not to say anything that could be construed as controversial. The Hearthstone Pro Player Rulebook stipulates that no player is permitted to do anything that brings him or her into public disrepute, scandal, or ridicule, or shocks or offends the community. That is in their rulebook. The company's decision to suspend this guy and rescind his prize money is the latest in a long line of capitulations made by American corporations that care more about profit than anything else. So I'm not saying that I'm on the fence on this or that I'm sort of leaning toward Blizzard. I understand when you make a rule, you should enforce those rules. And in a sense, they were enforcing those rules. But again, context matters. Again, if a player came out and supported someone politically in this voting or in an election here,
right,
I could see them taking a punishment for it because that's whatever. That's fine, But again, what is going on in China with Hong Kong and everything else, it's a little bit more elevated than picking a president here in the United States. I say that, and I mean, maybe I think one can affect the other. I don't necessarily think one solves the other, but I think one can have an effect on the other. So I don't want to diminish that, but look, we're talking about a horrible thing going on over there, and and they're worried about it because it's their bottom line, it's their money, it's their revenue. Yeah. So.
And they're gonna do whatever to protect it.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what businesses do.
Sometime yesterday, Riot, who are the makers of League of Legends, they issued a statement. We serve fans from many different countries and cultures, and we believe this opportunity comes with a responsibility to keep personal views on sensitive issues, political, religious, and otherwise, separate. These topics are often incredibly nuanced, require deep understanding and a willingness to listen, and cannot be fairly represented in the forum our broadcast provides. Therefore, We have reminded our casters and pro players to refrain from discussing any of these topics on air. They're getting ahead of it, even though nobody's done anything. But if this keeps going the way it's going, I have no doubt that it'll spill over into League of Legends as well. And this is sort of a thing. I understand where vote with your wallet doesn't matter in some instances. In most, vote with your wallet really, honestly, doesn't affect anything, right, unless a large amount of people do it. If enough people get on that bandwagon, and rarely will gamers ever do this, but if enough people will get on that bandwagon and agree to not do that, you can evoke change, or at least have an impact on what happened. If enough people do the right thing here, if enough people come together, both on Blizzard, or both with the Hearthstone community, both with in the League of Legends, and any of those others. There's another one, and I can't think of it. But any of those, if they just come together and say, okay, fine, if you're not going to let us do this over this that we feel this strongly about, then we're all backing out. They'll have nothing. You know? If enough people do this, support it, follow through, make sure it happens, they'll have nothing. The problem comes from people in the Hearthstone community right now who probably support what dude did, you know? I support you for your... I believe in that. However, you being out of the picture and all these other people falling out of the picture gives me a chance to shine and move in. So it's hard for them to... I say it's hard for them. It's easier for them to look at that and say, this is my opportunity to move into that slot to fulfill that void that is not there, and maybe I can make a rise into this and do something about it.
Yeah, less competition.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And so then you've got the angel and the devil on the shoulder being like, hey, do this.
What they call it, being opportunistic.
Yeah. Opportunistic, really. Yeah. Blizzard issued a statement, and I've only got a few minutes to do this. Specific views expressed by that player were not a factor in the decision we made. I want to be clear, our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. That is BS.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, okay.
We have the rules to keep. We have these rules to keep the focus on the game and on the tournament to benefit of a global audience. That was the only consideration in the actions we took. If this had been the opposing viewpoint delivered in the same divisive and deliberate way, we would have felt and acted the same. That would be interesting. If
it would be.
First off, I don't think the community would have supported him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he had gone on that interview and supported China in this, I think the community would have said, yeah, he's not one of us anymore.
Like, dude, what?
Yeah. It's just been like, oh, boy.
Yeah, social media would have turned on him, and he would have been blasted in social media.
They went on in their statement to say, we now believe he should receive his prize. We understand that for some, this is not about the prize, and perhaps for others, it's disrespectful to even discuss it. It's not our intention. Playing fair also includes appropriate pre- and post-match conduct, especially when a player accepts recognition for winning in a broadcast. When we think about the suspension, 6 months is more appropriate, after which time he could compete. So, yeah, he's getting his prize money, and his ban is reduced to 6 months. This has not helped their cause, Blizzard.
No.
The reaction to this is still that of, you're just trying to win a little bit of support on this, but it's still, and the statement is still horrible. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's all about protecting the bottom line for a business. No matter how bad they look.
Yeah.
Protecting the bottom line is what counts.
We had some comment. I don't know. If the phones rang, I'm sorry I missed them. I was reading a lot of stuff, and if you did call, I apologize. Lethal Migraine has a bunch of stuff he said in the chat room, and again, I'm sorry I didn't get to it. I don't care if it's Tencent or whoever out of China is giving money to Activision. Activision is an American company, and bowing down to a foreign country run by a tyrant dictator is about as vile as it gets.
Yeah,
it didn't offend the community; it offended a communist. So who cares? Tencent better grow some cojones,
get some nerve,
and quick before it hits the fan, because it is going to. So there you go. Lethal Migraine, a lot to say. You could have. I was going to say you could have called in, but if you're going to use that language, I couldn't have kept you on the air.
But
right. Yeah. We got to run. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat room. We should have spent more time on this, and I'm sorry we didn't. Stupid Discount Dracula. We really appreciate it. Go to ingamechat.net. Join us on Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And on Steam. We've got a Steam group now that we set up for our clan in Destiny 2 if you want to get in on that. The way that whole situation works, we've got to friend each other if we want to see each other in-game. It's really weird. Anyway, have a great week. We will see you next Saturday. I leave you now with music from Shadowkeep, Destiny 2. It's called Escape the Abyss. See you next week.